Travel warnings from our allies. The Democrats saying they're actually speaking for the middle class, but spent hundreds of billions of dollars against them. Isn't it amazing how we say one thing and then do another? Trump does these executive actions, but then they're not codified, meaning they're not approved by the Senate and Congress, even though they're saying they're backing the president. We say one thing and then we do another. Today, that's kind of what we're going to be talking about. It's amazing how many things that we talk about each and every day and how it's such a topsy-turvy world. For instance, I was listening to a podcast of San Francisco, what we would consider liberals just 10 years ago. Now they're bragging on President Trump and what Elon's doing. Elon used to be a darling of the left, and now they're literally wanting his head on a platter. I mean, we have really changed the mantra, and it's amazing how topsy-turvy we get. I mean, our allies now are saying they're banning people from traveling to America. Do we really have allies, or do we just have a bunch of sugar babies that just want handouts from us? Today we're going to be discussing all that, because what we see is a lot of things are not getting done unless it ties to the executive branch. I mean, we see a new judge that comes up and says that Trump can't even use the bathroom without his approval. Now, he didn't say that, but we're going to talk about what he did say and how crazy it really is. We're also going to talk about how this administration just cut 500,000 jobs for illegals, sending them back home. That's a good thing. You know, we talk about making sure that we are keeping Americans to work. Well, part of that is making sure other people are not taking those jobs. It's amazing, again, to see what we say and then what we do and how opposite they really are. Today, let's talk about that. And we're going to dive into some crazy stories. Wait for these. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. We appreciate you, and we humbly ask that you, if you like the content, please give us a thumbs up, ring the bell, and subscribe to the channel. That way you're entered into the giveaway each and every month. Also, remember, we have another channel, Life at Colby Mac. That channel is about a vlog. It's daily life of what we're doing to have a sustainable farm. So go check that out. We had a new video drop yesterday, and you see my family and what we literally do about raising our family on this farm and how we teach skills and how we teach life that is not just about video games and the crazy things that our government are teaching our children. Now let's talk about today's video. Saying one thing and doing another. First, let's talk about the executive actions. Trump has done tons of executive actions. Two things and two problems. He's doing executive actions all the while the Republicans are not codifying those. Now, what does that mean? That means they're not approving of these things. For instance, he just dismantled the Department of Education, meaning he's starting to tear it down. However, the Congress just fully funded the Department of Education through the CR bill. Did you know that? No, you didn't know that, did you? So how are we dismantling it, but then our Congress is fully funding it? You know, all these things that Trump has done with executive action, they have to be codified by the Republicans in the Congress. None of them have been codified, meaning they've not been approved by the Congress. So it's executive actions, and while Trump is president, it goes along, but they need to codify so it sticks to the actual plan, like balanced budget initiatives. Like, for instance, the things that he's done, as in sending these migrants back. He just did an executive action where he's going to send 500,000 Haitians and other migrants that are here illegally, basically the ones that Biden let in. He's sending them back home. Now, we would normally say, wow, kudos, way to go. We've been wanting more people to leave here. But again, you don't hear anything from Congress. You know, I said in the intro that Trump needs a judge to allow him to use the restroom. I mean, that's how serious it gets. Listen to what this new federal judge now injunctions against Trump. It says, federal judge takes over USAID, blocks Trump from actually hiring the guy to help dismantle it. So one of the Doge employees and engineers were over this USAID, as in tearing it down and actually restructuring it to make sense. Now, a judge not only blocked, you remember all the judge blocks all this stuff and makes the funding still go out, and that's what they're wanting. Now there's a judge blocking who Trump is wanting to appoint. So now Trump can't even hire people because the judges now are blocking that. So you tell me, does that make sense? I mean, this is what I'm saying, is it's hard to actually fight a fight with your hands tied behind your back. A travel warning from I mean, our allies, the people that make money off of us, the people that get our foreign aid, the UK, Finland, and several other countries in the NATO alliance, is saying travel warnings to America. You cannot travel to America because it's bad. The UK has joined Finland, Denmark, and Germany in warning its people not to come to the U.S. due to recent changes in immigration legislation and reinforcement procedures. In addition to reflecting growing concerns about immigration enforcement, these recommendations emphasize that America is unpredictable, and the crises that Trump is providing for its people is making it where we want to say there's a travel warning to go to America. Now, all that is just mumbo jumbo. It's a bunch of political hack jargon. You know why? These same countries want our money. And if we start cutting them off, this is what they get. So were they really ever friends? Were they really ever allies of ours? Because it seems like all they want is just our money. And if we're not giving our money, or we're not giving our kudos and saying, look, we allow you to do whatever you want to do. If we're not allowing them to do it, they get mad at us. So is that really true allies and friends? So I mean, what we've seen so far in this conversation that we're having is we say one thing and then we do another. This is from Mr. Brian off of Twitter. Listen to this. I thought this was funny. It says, you know, AOC with her mom jeans goes to a Bernie Sanders rally and how they're going to take back America. Now remember, isn't it funny how these people are actually saying like they're speaking for middle class Americans? Listen to what she says and then listen to this quote that Brian did. AOC wants you to know that President Trump and Elon are screwing over the working middle-class Americans to steal their health care, to steal their Social Security, and their veteran benefits in order to bail out billionaire friends and crypto buddies. Now, none of that is true. None of that is true. There's not 1 ounce of that true. What's so funny is all these billionaires that's actually in the West Wing, that's actually in the cabinet, really none of them are collecting checks. All of them have lost tons of billions and hundreds of millions of dollars to actually serve. David Sachs gave up $300 million just in crypto just to go serve in the administration. Lutnick, a billionaire that gave up his prestige to go live in Washington. And here's what he said. He said, you know, it's amazing how I've been here for 2 months. I've lived in Washington 2 months. I've never stayed in Washington until then. Don't we want people like that? Something about the founders. If you remember, wasn't they all businessmen and farmland owners? And weren't they all patriots who just said, look, I'm willing to give up time to go serve our country? Isn't it amazing how we're doing that now? And they're actually dogging that out the other side. I'm going to keep on going about this AOC quote. She talked about all the stuff that Republicans have gotten wrong. But listen to this. I love what this guy named Brian said. He says, also the left. Over the past 2 years, HHS has spent $22 billion on illegal aliens, cars, healthcare, hotels, credit cards, etc., which basically takes the benefits of the middle class. So again, saying one thing and actually doing the other is exactly what they're doing. It's amazing to me, and people just believe it. There was people, I mean, like clapping like crazy for AOC for that comment, when knowing none of that was true. However, the Democrats are so out of touch, and the more they double down on what their policies are. For instance, Chuck Schumer said that he wants to take Trump down and take Elon down. Why is politicians able to say these kind of things in an environment that has had already assassination attempts and also destruction of property dealing with Elon? I mean, is that not crazy to you? Now, if Republicans started talking like this, they would be thrown in political whirlwinds and probably lose their jobs. But the Democrats can say this kind of stuff. Have you ever heard of a politician literally hating on American companies? I mean, Tim Walz said he went on his little stock app and downloaded the Tesla stock just to see how bad it's doing because he wants it to fail. Now, this is the same company that has 80 to 100,000 employees of American descent. American jobs, American car company, literally American car company, and he's wanting it to fail. Do we not see the problem with that? Do we not see the problem that these judges want to keep providing waste, fraud, and abuse across the world? It just blows my mind that we're actually seeing this. And then the Republicans, I don't give them a pass because, again, like I said, they've not codified anything that Trump has actually put out. Listen to this quote. It says, why haven't Republicans in Congress codified Trump's executive ordership? Why haven't Republicans in Congress worked to pass election laws? Why haven't Congress moved to strip the D.C. courts of jurisdiction and impeach the rogue justices? We're not seeing the GOP actually do anything that backs President Trump's agenda. This is what I'm saying. Trump and a lot of the cabinet are working tirelessly to actually do benefits for Americans. But to be honest with you, they're not getting any assistance from the legislative branch or the judiciary branch. Both those branches are actually working against the American people. I mean, watch. You'll see a judge hold up this 500,000 workers. 500,000 people that are in the country that are legally being here, that Biden let in. Nicaraguans, Haitians, all those migrants. All those migrants shouldn't be here. And Trump just signed an executive order. Hey, they've got to go back. There's no reason that we're housing these people just because Biden said that we should house them. And you watch if a judge don't try to stop that and try to keep the 500,000 people here that Trump is trying to send back. So Trump is trying to keep these promises that he made to the American people, and the judiciary and the legislative branch is not doing anything about it. How many times did you hear that the Republicans wanted to do single-day voting, holiday voting? How many times did you see the Republicans say that they want to do a balanced budget initiative? They've not passed any of those bills. They've not even brought them up. So are they really working for us? Saying one thing and doing another. But here's where you start seeing changes. And this is where the impact is. Now, I told you about Jensen Huang and NVIDIA yesterday, the day before, about how they're investing literally trillions of dollars here in America. Listen to this new report that just dropped. The UAE is to invest $1.4 trillion in the U.S., all because of Trump. The United Arab Emirates will invest $1.4 trillion in the United States after meeting with Trump. The 10-year framework will target investments in AI infrastructure, semiconductors, energy, and American manufacturing. Now, this is the same information that I just told you yesterday about how we see NVIDIA and semiconductors and tech is coming back to America to onshore because of the tariffs. Because of that, now UAE, who bought a lot of this stuff from China, now is saying we're going to invest $1.4 trillion with America because of manufacturing, because of semiconductors, and because of tariffs. So the impact is actually working. This is what I'm talking about. It's sad that our other part of the government does not want to see America thrive. Literally, we have the infighting with the legislative branch and the judiciary branch while Trump is actually doing what he said he wanted to do. There's been more done in the last few months than there ever has been done by any other president. Like, for instance, $1.4 trillion. Yesterday, Jensen Huang, it was $800 billion to $1.2 trillion. The day before, it was another investment by another. I mean, you could go back and watch the videos. We're up to $3 or $4 trillion of just extra spending. You know the new gold card that Trump was doing? Howard Lutnick said there was already 1,000 people that took up the gold card, meaning the higher income earners that want to have a chance to be here and start businesses here. Now, these are not the people that the government has to help with illegal immigrants. They're not going to go live in the New York City hotels on the taxpayer dollar. They just paid $5 million for each member of their family to come here. You know what that did? That was $5 billion made last week. $5 billion. Now, that's not anything to the trillions of dollars worth of debt that we have. But you see the policies and the changes that he's implementing that's making a difference. Trump says he thinks there will be 1 million people do that. That would make what, $5 trillion? What is that, $5 trillion of extra money coming into America because the biggest and most wealthiest and the most innovative businesses are bringing their top people here to help innovate for American manufacturing? That's huge. But again, while Trump is doing this, we have judges trying to hold up his hiring. While Trump is doing this, we have the Congress not codifying what Trump is saying, not approving what he's actually doing. We cut the Department of Education. Woo, that's great. But then we fully fund it through Congress. So where's that money going if we just canceled it? Is it still going to Department of Education? Where's that money going? I mean, does it make sense to you? That's what I'm saying. So we're seeing great things come out of the executive branch, but you're seeing exactly the opposite out of the other two branches of government. And back to the travel ban. What happened is when Trump cut money and changed the plan, everybody got upset. Here's another great example of why we shouldn't have endowments and payments to schools and let them be quote-unquote tax-free. Listen to this. You know how liberal these colleges are and how they've let things just happen. They've tearing the schools down, all this stuff. Columbia University in NYC, the location of violent pro-Hamas rallies and riots over the last few weeks and months. Trump turned around and took the $400 million federal funding back from the school. What happened? Columbia came back, told the protesters they cannot have pro-Hamas rallies anymore, told them not to have the mass mandates that they had. Also hired 36 special officers to remove the rioters that were causing the issues. Hired new people to do the job that Trump told them to do. Other commitments were announced so they can help ICE with removal of people that shouldn't be there illegally. Also help make sure that they get their funding back based on what Trump wanted them to do. Now think about that. They shouldn't get funding anyway. But it shows that when you cut off these people from their payments, they actually start doing the will of America. They've been letting pro-Hamas rallies happen. They've been allowing people to, quote unquote, be under rules and precedent to keep masks on. I mean, come on, this is 2025, not 2020. They've also allowed for these protests to happen and said they don't have the manpower. But they were getting $400 million. All of a sudden, Trump cuts the $400 million off. They start hiring people to handle the protests. They start making sure that there's no Hamas rallies and terror rallies going on their campuses. And now they're actually making sure that the mask ban is off. Isn't it amazing how that works? Isn't that amazing when we start cutting funding off to some of these liberal ideologies in these European countries, how we really see the truth behind support or not? The last story I want to talk about, and this is one I didn't talk about in the intro, but something that's very important to me. I feel like I'm so out of touch with sometimes the way the world works because I work for myself. We own a sustainable farm, so we don't really go out and have to shop for food as much. We also don't send our kids to public schools or even private schools. We homeschool. So a lot of the things that we do is very, very different. And so I'm a little just taken back by some of the things of the world. And so, like, we got this report, and RFK, I got this email stating that RFK was going to ban cell phones in school amidst health debate because he believes that they were not good for kids to have. Well, first of all, we have that same mantra. It's not about school. It's the fact that we don't believe in our kids having, little mini computers that have access to the World Wide Web and the dangers of the world on their devices. Like I have two kids that are old enough to have phones, and both of them have kind of like text and call phones, kind of like in the 2000s where all you could do was literally just call on it and text on it. No pictures, no access to internet, anything like that. Because we believe we want to keep our children safe from the dangers of cell phones and what they can actually do. Well, you're starting to see a major blowback on RFK saying that he announced the plans to collaborate with states to implement policies to aim to removing cell phones from school premises. His initiative is based on the regarding of potential health risk of posed not only of electromagnetic radiation from cell phones, however, the fact that social media, the presence of bullying, and the presence of damage with our endorphins, none of this is actually a positive, net, good thing to have cell phones in the hands of kids. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've gotten to where now I don't even like having my cell phone around me. It's one of those things that actually stresses me out because it gives me anxiety. Why do we need this stuff? We have access to we have access to everything that we can imagine, and we're under more stress and anxiety we've ever been. Isn't it amazing? It shows that these things are probably not good for us. So when we hear that he's banning cell phones or wanting to ban cell phones out of school, I understand some parents saying, well, what if we want access to our children? Well, that is a risk, and I could not imagine in my mind going to drop my kid off for someone else to raise them for the 8 hours a day. I'm not looking down on you if you do that. I'm just saying I cannot imagine that for our family because we've never done that. I can't imagine giving them a cell phone that allows them to have access to any and everything from garbage to sometimes good things, but also things that their minds may not be ready for, or to expose them to radiological, neurological damages at such a young age. They said that kids are not really developed enough to take that electromagnetic current that they're actually getting from cell phones. When you start thinking about that, it makes me think, we thought for the longest that it was so bad to have dirt roads and no air conditioners and had to actually work for your food and build life skills. We thought that, the 20s, 30s, 40s looked bad, that people actually had to live like that with no technology. And they actually had to sit on the front porch and actually throw a ball and actually play checkers because there was nothing else to do. There was no TV. There was no cell phones. There was no currents. There was no satellites you had to worry about. Sometimes when I'm outside, and we were, like 2 days ago, we were fishing. and all the kids were fishing. They were having a blast. I mean, some were fishing, catching fish, and it was so funny. One of my children, you know, while one was catching fish, the other one was throwing their pole and got it caught in a tree, and some over there, and they were all laughing about all that. And when I think about cell phones, when I think about TV, when I think about all the junk food, when I think about school, when I think about all the arguments, the things that we're getting promised but things are not happening, like for Congress and judiciary. When I think about that, and I think about then just saying this, I'm going to lay it down and actually go enjoy the outdoors with my children. Go and enjoy time just devoted to them and not to technology. It is just such a good feeling. So my last pitch to you today, go out and do something with your children. Build life skills. What we see that now RFK is getting a major pushback because people want their kids to have cell phones. Sadly, we've built a world that's revolved around stress, anxiety, money, and just the most shallow things that we think that that's what life's all about. And truthfully, we're more depressed and more anxious than we've ever been in a society. When's the last time that you just walked out and grounded yourself? When's the last time you walked out and said, man, those stars are beautiful? When's the last time you just said, man, that sunrise and sunset is gorgeous? When's the last time your children said that? If we allow our children to be so enticed with things like this, then we actually miss out on what life really is about. So I love the fact that RFK is talking about banning soda. I love the fact that RFK is starting to talk about seed oils. I love the fact that RFK is starting to talk about cell phones. Does that make him perfect? No. Does that make all those things completely terrible and there's not a place for them? No. There's a place for technology. But when we allow our lives to be so wrapped up in it, I'm scared we're actually missing out on the value of family, and the value of children, and the value of raising them. My kids have to earn that time on the tablet or earn that time on devices. We make it to be where they have to earn it. Why? Because we do want them to enjoy it and learn, but at the same time, we want them to see there's way more value in going outdoors, playing on the trampoline, going to hit a ball, going to shoot some basketball, going fish, or just going outdoors and laughing and carrying on together. Do something like that. When the weight of the world's on you, when you hear AOC talking, or Bernie Sanders talking, or even the Republicans talking, sometimes it's just good to say, I'm going to turn it off just for a little bit and just go out and enjoy time with my family. That's my push for you. And put the cell phones down. RFK is right. It's not good for us all the time. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this video. I go back to saying that one comment. We can talk it all we want, but until they start walking it, nothing will ever change. This is our time for America to build a reawakening and revival. And if it does not happen in this next year or two, because remember, midterm elections are coming. If major changes are not implemented and codified by the Congress and the legislative branch getting very serious about the judiciary branch overstepping, if we don't see some of those things changing, this could be our last chance. And I'm being completely honest when I say that. Because if the pendulum swings back, it's going to swing back even more left and more staunch and more away from the things that we've moved closer to, which is more freedom, less regulation, less taxes, and more time for our families. Pay attention to these stories, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you for being here. We need your support. We need you to subscribe, and we need you to give us a thumbs up. It means the world to us and helps us spread our message here. Thank you for watching. God bless. Be free.